Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Untold Tales from this side of nowhere. It's that time of the week again, or every other week, when you listen to this podcast. And I hope you have a big smile on your face, just like I do, because this is Untold Tales from this side of nowhere. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you about our sponsor. The podcast is sponsored by the Copper Corner Cafe. The Copper Corner Cafe in Basin, Wyoming is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner Friday and Saturday, and from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday, the Copper is open for breakfast and lunch from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Stop by and try any of their delicious menu items, featuring homemade bread for all sandwiches, and of course, their famous pie for dessert. Breakfast is served all day, so come on in to the Copper Corner Cafe, the best cafe in Basin. We're also sponsored by the Wyoming Welcome Program. The folks at the Wyoming Welcome Program provide two services: Table Talk brochures and Wyoming Welcome baskets. Brochures include jokes, facts about Wyoming and the month's holidays, and are placed on restaurant tables in Cody and Powell. They also include advertisements from local businesses, so if you're interested in participating, be sure to contact Haley at HALEYJ@wyomingwelcome.com. And now, the podcast. Well, things have been going pretty well. Spraying weeds. I work, I contract with Weed and Pest, Bighorn County Weed and Pest, to spray noxious weeds on public land around Bighorn County. And it's been going very well. We've only run into, 2 bull snakes and 3 rattlesnakes so far. Some of the land that I spray is down closer to gray bull, and that's been exciting. There is a frisbee golf course by the river in Grable, if you know where that is. It's by the river crossing, and it's over on the east side of the bridge. And yesterday, we ran into an enormous bull snake by the river. This sucker was easily 6 feet long, and nothing gets the old pulse racing like seeing a snake. I don't know if it's just instinctive. It must be, right? It must be instinct that makes us more aware of snakes, if not startled by snakes every time. Perhaps I have an ancestor who was really good at avoiding snakes, and that's why I'm here, Still haven't been bit. Knock on wood. So we are going up into the mountains now. We finished up our lowland spraying, and we'll be headed up into the mountains. We'll be up around Burgess Junction, and I am looking forward to getting up there away from the snakes. But as we are driving to and from our job sites, it can take a while to get up into the mountains. And we do a lot of shooting the bull as we're driving. We shoot the breeze. I have a couple guys working with me, and shout out to Reichel and Dexter. They have been working with me, and we do a lot of talking as we're driving. And shooting the bull is, in fact, the title of this story, though it may not be in the way you are thinking. So strap yourself in. It's going to be a wild ride. When Fred and I were in 5th grade, our class read about the Shackleton expedition to the South Pole, and I was instantly enthralled with the story. It had all the elements of a truly epic adventure. Exploring new territory, overcoming incredible odds, and heroic feats of strength and determination. Best of all, none of the heroes died, which is probably why this Antarctic expedition makes it into elementary school curriculums, while others do not. Of all the incredible events that unfolded during the more than 2 years the intrepid explorers spent on the southern continent, one of the most exciting for a 10-year-old boy was the time Frank Wild, captain of Shackleton's crew, shot and killed a sea leopard to save one of his fellow explorers. According to the account, Ordelay, now, if you speak French actually and you are a Shackleton aficionado and you know how to pronounce his name, shoot me an email. I'd love to know. But I'm going to say Ordelay. Ordelay was skiing across the ice unarmed, and a leopard seal began tracking him from under the ice. Ordelay began skiing away from the animal like his life depended on it, which it did. After pursuing him from under the ice for a bit, the seal decided Ordelay's life should have an even more exciting ending, and so it burst from under the ice and began pursuing him across the floe. Wild, who was nearby and had a 30-30 rifle, quickly dropped to a knee as Ordelay skied frantically past. Only having time for one shot, he had to make it count. As the 12-foot beast lumbered toward him with murderous intent, Wild drew a bead. The seal was now just mere yards away, and Wild knew that if he missed, he didn't stand a chance. His shipmates watched in horror as the predator closed in on Wild, and then the crack of a rifle burst across the ice. The seal flinched, then fell, skidding to a stop at Wild's feet. The bullet had struck the seal in the head, killing it instantly. A second longer, and Wild would have been lunch. As it was, the seal was found to have several undigested fish in its stomach, which made a delicious meal for Wild and his companions. Reading about Wild's incredible calm under pressure captured our imaginations. Just imagine having to make a shot to save not only your life, but the life of your friend. The story seemed too good to be true. But that was before we saw Grandpa shoot the bull. To be clear, Grandpa, my mom's dad, would shoot the bull on any given day of the week. Grandpa loved talking to people, and he could meet someone at the gas pump and end up with an invitation to go fishing from a total stranger. We often said Grandpa knew everybody, and it was basically true. He had traveled more places, seen more sights, and done more than most people, and he could hold an intelligent conversation on nearly any topic. So, he was very experienced at shooting the bull, as far as the idiomatic expression is concerned. But this story isn't about jawing or chewing the fat. It all started when my cousins from Washington came to town. It wasn't often the cousins from the West Coast came to Wyoming, so it was a momentous occasion. My mom's brother Jordan was in town for a few days with his family, and we were all hanging out at Grandma and Grandpa's house one day when Grandpa got a phone call. "Hello?" he said into the receiver. "Uh-huh." "Oh, really? A broken leg, huh?" "Uh-huh." "Sure, I'll be right over." Then he hung up, and we all waited expectantly to hear what the conversation had been about. "Who wants to go shoot the bull at the neighbor's ranch?" Grandpa asked. Us kids were all instantly intrigued, given that the word shoot had been used in close conjunction with a large animal. "Shoot the bull?" Mom asked. "Like, have a conversation?" Grandpa grinned. "No, I mean actually shoot the bull. The Johnsons have a bull calf that broke its leg, and they want it butchered, so I'm going to put it down and haul it to the shop." You would have thought Grandpa had announced Christmas was coming early. "Hooray!" we kids chorused and ran for the door. "Hold on," Mom said. "Is it okay if the kids come and watch?" "Of course," Grandpa said. "Let me get my rifle." Grandpa had recently opened a butcher shop in Burlington, where he processed all manner of wild game and domestic livestock. The word had gotten around that Grandpa was a butcher, and a good one. and now people were calling on him quite frequently for his services. We cousins piled into my parents' 15-passenger van like a Comanche war party, whooping and hollering. Mom followed after us, and Grandpa emerged from the house a moment later and started up his little blue Toyota pickup. Given Grandpa's stature, it was always a marvel to me how he fit in the Toyota. His gray buzz-cut head brushed the roof as he fired up the engine, and we could hardly contain our excitement as he bounced out of the gravel driveway. We trundled along behind him in the 15-passenger van, with most of the seats full of delighted kids. "This is so exciting!" gushed my cousin Tyler from his position next to Fred and I on the longest seat, the one at the back of the bus. We referred to the 15-passenger van as the bus. "Yeah, it's great," agreed Fred. "Have you guys ever seen someone shoot a bull?" "No way," Tyler exclaimed. "You can't shoot guns where I live, and no one has cows anyway." Fred and I tried to imagine a place where shooting wasn't allowed or where no one had cows. It seemed unbelievable. What would people do with their time if they didn't have guns to shoot for entertainment or cows to chase for work? It sounded like a strange place. "So, what do you do when you're not at school?" I asked, curious. "Well, I like to skateboard," Tyler offered. "That's cool," I said. "I don't know how to skateboard." "I don't really know how to shoot," Tyler replied. "Don't worry, we'll teach you," Fred assured him. The Johnson farm was a short drive from Grandma and Grandpa's house, so before we knew it, we were pulling off the highway and onto a rutted dirt lane. We bounced happily in our seats as Mom maneuvered over the bumpy road. Grandpa pulled up beside some large wood panel corrals and killed the engine. Almost before the bus had rolled to a stop, we were pouring out of the clamshell doors and surrounding Grandpa, who emerged beaming from the truck. "You all aren't excited, are you?" he asked in mock amazement. "Yes, we are!" one of my Washington cousins cheered. "Well, I couldn't tell," Grandpa grinned. He turned to bend down and retrieve his rifle from the pickup while we looked on with barely contained enthusiasm. "Give Grandpa some space," Mom instructed. We all made way as Grandpa walked around the front of the truck, the rifle pointing straight up in the air. From the white-sided farmhouse emerged a lanky farmer in blue jeans and a plaid shirt. His weather-beaten hat perched atop his head, and a toothy grin was splashed across his sunburnt face. "Howdy, Marvin," he said as Grandpa approached. "Thanks for coming out on such short notice. He got his leg caught in a panel, and the darn thing bucked and carried on so much he broke it." "So the bull broke his leg in the fence?" Fred translated for the Washington cousins. "Nah," Farmer Johnson sniffed. "I broke his leg after he broke my fence." "Oh," we chorused. "Where is he at now?" Grandpa asked. "He's in the corral over there," Farmer Johnson said, pointing. We turned en masse to look in the direction indicated and saw out in the middle of a large corral a yearling Angus calf. Though not fully grown, the calf in question was hardly a calf and stood 4 feet tall at the shoulder and could have easily supported the weight of any one or two of us grandkids if we had been inclined to climb on its back. "Well, I've got some irrigating to attend to. You can use my loader tractor to string him up when you get to the butchering part," sniffed Farmer Johnson, with a jerk of his thumb toward a rusting loader parked nearby. "There's a chain waiting in the bucket." With that, he shuffled over to his pickup truck in that way only someone whose profession causes them physical pain every day can. In a moment, he was gone, and we were left standing there, looking through the wooden panel of the corral at the bull calf. The cow bawled at us, as if challenging any of us to come any closer. It turned tail and trotted off toward the other side of the corral, and from what we could see, it wasn't limping at all. "Which leg is broken?" Mom asked dubiously. "We'll get a good look soon enough," Grandpa said, and he used the lever on the 22 to jack around into the chamber. Arnold Schwarzenegger seldom looked so cool. Or at least that's what all of us grandkids thought. "Are you going to shoot it through the fence, Grandpa?" my cousin Tyler asked excitedly. "Nah," Grandpa replied. "I don't want to shoot him with the highway behind him. Drivers might not appreciate it if someone starts shooting at them." Grandpa was swiftly approaching his 60th year, and a long life of physical labor had left him with aching joints that gave him a stiff gait as he walked. That didn't keep him from getting around, though. He moved briskly toward the gate of the corral and paused when he reached it to undo the chain latch. The metal clanked loudly as it clanged against the green metal bars of the gate, and it only squeaked a little bit as Grandpa swung it open. We watched with bated breath as Grandpa entered the corral, the rifle held in his right hand, with the barrel pointing safely toward the sky. "This is so exciting!" my cousin Dale shouted. Grandpa entered the ring like a matador, and Mom had to keep us from crowding the fence. "Let's stay back here. If you want to, you can climb in the loading chute over there to see better," she directed. Like a clan of coons storming a corn patch, we jostled one another in our haste to climb into the wooden loading chute. From our vantage point, we could just see over the top board in the wood panel fence. On the other side of the corral, the bull had spun around to eye Grandpa warily. He didn't seem to have any intention of moving from his place. "Hey!" Grandpa whooped, waving his left hand high in the air. The cow started, but didn't move from its place. Its knees were caked with dirt, and its dark black hide shone in the morning sun. From across the barnyard, the sound of horses whinnying floated through the air. A light breeze tickled the kochia weeds on the edge of the corral, making them dance. The earthy smell of animals and manure filled our noses with its pungence. For the first time all morning, the children in the loading chute were silent, waiting. With a shake of its head, the cow pawed at the ground. It lowered its head uneasily, and Grandpa eyed it with icy calm. He began a stiff walk around the edge of the corral, attempting to herd the bull into a better position for him to take the shot. As he began walking, the cow snorted and began backing away. The entire corral was perhaps 100 feet in length, and half that in width, and the bull began edging toward the far end opposite Grandpa. The vehicles were parked on the long end of the rectangular enclosure, so the action was spread out in front of us. "Come on now," Grandpa hollered. The bull trotted to the back of the corral, and Grandpa shuffled after it. "Get him, Grandpa," I called out. "Shh," Mom hushed me. "You don't want to spook it." We didn't listen. "Grandpa! Grandpa! Grandpa!" We began cheering, louder and louder. The cow reached the back of the corral and spun around, with nowhere to go. It faced Grandpa and bawled, its neck straight and its head extended. Now cornered, it faced him defiantly and pawed at the ground. Our cheering and Grandpa's steady approach seemed to agitate the bull, and it shifted uneasily on its feet. Grandpa was 70 feet away when the bull dropped its head and snorted. Grandpa tightened his grip on the rifle and stopped. The bull snorted again, our cheering still ringing across the yard. "Grandpa! Grandpa! Grandpa!" Then, inexplicably, it charged. With a sudden burst of speed, the bull tore across the corral, headed straight for Grandpa. He quickly dropped the rifle, leveling the barrel at the swiftly approaching animal, and he closed one eye as he squinted down the gun. The cow was in a full run, eating up the yards between it and Grandpa. If it could run like this with a broken leg, then it could probably outrun an Olympic athlete with 4 good legs. We stopped cheering as suddenly as we started, and watched in horror as the bull charged, flinging mud and rocks behind it. Grandpa stood like a statue, ramrod straight, and calm as could be. "It's going to hit him!" I cried. Then the crack of the rifle ripped through the air, and the bull stumbled. Fast as lightning, Grandpa worked the lever, ejecting one shell and introducing another to the chamber. A second crack. Jesse James couldn't have pumped lead through a rifle faster than Grandpa. The cow stumbled, but kept on coming. It was less than 10 feet from the man in front of it. It was going to hit him. "Grandpa!" screamed my sister Alice. A third shot tore through the bull, and it crumpled at Grandpa's feet, sliding to a stop, with the black nose mere inches from his boot. For a moment, we stared dumbfounded. Our mouths were gaping in amazement, our eyes round as saucers. Grandpa lowered the rifle from his shoulder, his face a study in calm assurance. Then we cheered. "Woo! Hooray, Grandpa! That was amazing! How did he do that?" The whole thing had lasted mere seconds, but no action movie had a more enthusiastic audience. "Fred," I said, clapping a hand to his shoulder, "Grandpa's like a real-life Frank Wilde." Fred grinned. "Yeah, he is. That was amazing." I remember feeling so proud of my grandpa that day. Some kids' grandpas golfed, and some grandpas watched TV, but my grandpa was a crack shot under pressure. The rest of the morning we watched as Grandpa strung up the cow and began processing it, and the Washington cousins got a front row seat in a lesson on where meat comes from. I wonder what all of Tyler's skateboarding buddies said when he went back home and told them all about his Wyoming grandpa and how he shot the bull. I'm sure their grandpas had never done it quite the way mine had. Well, there you go. Another untold tale from this side of nowhere. Yeah, Grandpa was a crack shot, and I sure do miss him. He told the best stories. Now, he could shoot the bull literally and figuratively as well. So he could tell great stories and talk your ear off, but I always remember, that song, That's Something to Be Proud of, by the Montgomery Gentry? Let me double check that. Yeah, it's Montgomery Gentry. But yeah, that song where they say, he says, "I ended up cross-legged, wide-eyed on the floor." That was our experience with Grandpa. And yeah, that day we added one more hero story to Grandpa's book. And let me tell you, that thing, I don't know how it qualified as a calf. When the Johnsons called, they said it was a calf, but when we showed up, it was a full-grown yearling cow. It was a bull, and I'm sure if Grandpa had not made the shot, the story would have ended very differently. So, but if you have a story about your grandpa being a crack shot, or if you need to correct my pronunciation on members of the Shackleton expedition, feel free to shoot me an email at Untold Tales of Podcast, or reply to this episode when it drops on Facebook. And please, if you'd like to help the podcast, go to whatever streaming service you use and give us a 5-star rating and review if you are so inclined. As always, this has been another untold tale from this side of nowhere, where we work twice as hard for half as much and still find time for the important things, like fishing. See you next time, folks.